So anyway, that's when I learned that it was actually fecal matter that causes pink eye, not just like a cold or anything like that.
Wait, when did you learn it?
When one of the persons that was in my second grade classroom said she didn't wipe properly, came in with and then all of a sudden the entire second grade got like a rash of it. Thank God for me. I was sitting on the other side of the classroom, and she was way over there, and I was way over here, and I was like, I don't want any poopy eye. Okay. I thought it was a cold condition.
Was she just like walking around the room, wiping her hand across people's eyes?
Bro, you don't even know. Like, it was like COVID before COVID. Like, I had one of my classmates go, oh, she got pink eye. She got out of school. He goes, oh, aha. He went over to her desk. This is, I shit you not. No names being involved.
No pun intended.
No names being involved. And fuck you.
This shit.
Fuck you.
Right.
Fuck you. Everyone knows if you stuck around this podcast, you know what I'm saying.
I'm hilarious.
We are both hilarious. Let's not make a monopoly on hilarity. Anyway, he walks over to her desk when he found out the next day, rubs his hand on her desk and goes, ah. It was funny.
Trying to play a joke like nothing was going to happen.
Fuck, when he did it, he had pink eye in both of his eyes. And the next day, like, so bad. He needed so much penicillin, like an inordinate amount of penicillin shot into him.
What? But I don't get, what was the purpose of doing it? Was he trying to?
Because he was trying to get out of school. He was trying to get out of school.
He knew it would happen. He wanted
to get out of school. But as a 6-year-old, it's like, hey, you can just watch Ferris Bueller, like clammy hands, fake fever, yada yada. That's a good way to get out. Don't rub people's shit in your eye to get out of fucking school, because guess what? You'll get out of school, but you'll need 7 shots. And I don't know how you feel about shots, Dane. I'm pretty against them.
So we learned over the last 2.5 years.
Raisins. Anyway, Dane, and a poopy eye holes aside, you want to get into the main topic?
I think we should.
All right, let's destruct a meme. And thank God, conspiracy theorism, as we know it, is being defined. Finally.
You know, I've always been kind of, it's been like trying to nail jelly to a wall.
Who am I?
A conspiracy theorist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what I am. I just, I need a definition.
Listen, David, all I want is an explanation for Tower 7. That's it.
Explain Tower 7. Let's turn off fucking frogs game. That's a good one.
You really got the inflection on that.
Anyway. All right. Culture Corner. Meghan and Harry are soupy upset about South Park coming after them.
Soupy dupes.
Super doopy poopies.
Well, they're going after South Park, as I understand it. It's hard to tell who's going after who in that situation.
Scientology went after South Park, and they fought the law, and the law won. Fuck you. We lost Chef, and then, you know what?
Save it for the show, David.
Man, Trey got you back. Anyway, Epstein didn't kill himself. Rocket men are illegal.
I think just the rockets and some other things, but
yeah, because that'd be kind of against the LGBTQ. Anyway, Rocket Man, burning out his fuse out here alone.
Oh, you're going without.
Yeah, not Duo ripping off his fucking thing and saying, I hope I win a Grammy for this cover.
I thought you were saying like gendering an emoji by calling it a man. Levels, David. Levels.
If a rocket doesn't symbolize something else on a male anatomy, I don't know what does.
It doesn't.
We shaped it exactly like it.
You toxic person. Anywho.
Aerodynamic. Dane, lastly. Anyway, Russian. David was sharp tonight. I almost blamed you. David was sharp tonight. Russia is suspending The U.S. nuke agreement. It's probably because we're going to come up with a better one, right?
Yeah, we're going to come up with something way more secure and far less dangerous than potentially exchanging.
Mom and dad are going to think.
Although I will say, if we do start shooting them at each other, everyone we shoot will decrease our national stockpiles by 1. So,
and let me tell you about stockpiles.
One could say that is nuclear disarmament.
I've got my SPF 1 million in the background. I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to be outside.
Everybody knows.
Sweet ass tan with that like little mirror thing.
David, listen.
Like this.
Everybody knows for SPF.
That's the big one. That's the big one, guys.
Everybody knows for every SPF over 30 doesn't do anything. Okay, it's all just a gimmick.
Don't tell nothing like that. It just raises our cholesterol. Is that what you're saying?
I don't
Christ almighty.
I don't know what it does, but it doesn't
Christ,
protect
our
you.
blood-brain barrier, Dane. Anyway, you want to get into this or not?
Maybe this is just the whole show.
It sounds like every sexual encounter I've ever had.
Wait, were you asking them or they were asking you?
Depends. Not mutually exclusive. Sometimes, other times.
Sometimes there needs to be double checks.
We're going to get into this?
All right. Well, let's not get into that, but let's get into this.
On your window.
Welcome to Weapons and Meme Destruction Podcast, episode 137, which can be found at www.podcast.com/137. You can get the audio only on any podcast catcher. Just search Weapons and Meme Destruction. You can get the video on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey. This entire episode will be up on YouTube. You can also link up with us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, private members only Facebook page at $5 a month. Go over to the website, support our work tab to find out how to get in there. You can also click the link below to our merch store to buy some merch from us. Or, just tell friends and family about us. Help spread the word. Those subscriber counts are still climbing, and we have you to thank for that. You can also link up with us on Float and Tribel. If I don't say it that way every fucking episode, David's going to lose his mind. So
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You have to do one different thing.
That's
Super
the point.
Sorry.
It's not different. It's the same thing every episode, or you yell at me. Anyway, those are all the places you can find us. Those
Still
are
yelling at you this episode, by the way.
And I said it. Those are all of the places to send your friends and family to so they can find us as you work with us to help grow the Sane Space larger and larger by every episode. David.
If only those pills worked. What?
Last week's episode was long AF. So what do you think we get the people what they want in a more time?
Get the people what they want, or we give them?
Get them, give them.
Are they consensual?
They're getting it short, good, and hard.
Do you want?
That's what she said. All right. So
all the 4 inches of their life. Here we go.
With that being said, let's jump into the meme part of this episode. And we have a complete lack of self-awareness. Now, I clipped out when I took a screenshot of this one. I believe I found this meme on the other 98% page. They've made many, many appearances on this show because they just can't help themselves. But if you want a serious case of lack awareness, this would be it. Shared by a leftist meme page. So for the audio only listeners, I'll read it. It's a 1950s looking cartoon, mother and daughter talking to each other. The daughter says,
Ovaltine.
The daughter says, Mom, what's a conspiracy theorist? The mom replies, a mentally challenged person who lacks critical thinking, thrives on fear-mongering, and gets duped very easily into believing any controversial thing without evidence, dear. Now, if I didn't tell you that came from the other 98% page, you would think that this meme came from some libertarian page mocking lefties and lefty pages because it fits quite well. But again, as I said, completely lacking in self-awareness. They think that this describes anybody but them.
But here's the thing. They don't wipe their own ass before assisting others. And the problem is that they think that everyone sees the world through their candy-coated glasses. But what they really just described was a free thinker. Like, somebody that's so obtuse that can't think for themselves. Like, oh, I don't know. I think thinking for yourself means being able to come up with your own thoughts and opinions without being told what they are. But that only seems like conspiracy theorists would do that. Whereas when you just hear something once from somebody that you rely on as a notable authority, you just accept their opinion with no fact checking whatsoever. It's almost as though you're putting all your maladies on somebody else. What a human characteristic, Dane.
Right. When I saw this meme, I thought, part by part here, a mentally challenged person who lacks critical thinking. If I really were to pin down somebody who really seems to have it going on and has a lot of critical thinking going, it's the people that regurgitate talking points from, the regime apparatchiks and their media mouthpieces, or thrives on fear-mongering and gets duped very easily into believing any controversial thing without evidence. Fear-mongering is the order of the day for the regime apparatchiks, and the getting duped very easy into believing any controversial thing without evidence. Have these people ever countenanced a controversial idea in their entire life?
They just did, Dane.
If you have the audacity to suggest that the marginal tax rate should be a 0.5 percentage point lower than what it currently is, that's the most controversial thing that they could possibly imagine.
We're just told for the past couple of weeks that the Chinese were floating balloons over our country to figure out strategic anomalies. If you said that before the couple of weeks before it, you know what they'd call you? They call you a fucking conspiracy theorist. Like, that's such a Wile E. Coyote fucking thing. I'm never going to believe you. Meanwhile, fast forward a couple of weeks, all of a sudden, we had to send up an F-22 to shoot down a balloon. Next thing you know, every carnival, a 3-year-old lets go of a balloon. We're going to have a squadron circling that parade to make sure that no balloons go into the atmosphere. It's crazy. The thing is, like, it's such a... The infuriating thing is that they're the ones that are doing the thing that you should not do, and they're telling the other people that are doing the thing that you should do that they're the crazy ones for doing the thing that they're doing. It's like, when did reality leave the room? That's all I want to know, Dane. Can you give me a North Star there, please?
No.
Yeah. There is no North Star with them. It's all muddy water and no GPS system unless it's Google based that sends you into a fucking 1 hour long traffic jam, for fuck's sake.
But, the only reason this meme made the cut this week is because
you're starved
of the completely lacking in self-awareness that the meme indicates. But listen, you hear the trope all the time, the left can't meme, exhibit I lost count. Like, this meme is not even funny, doesn't even say anything particularly clever or pithy. Just
you shouldn't be one, because we're just gonna hate on you for doing it.
To the first part, mentally challenged, lacking in critical thinking. This is why the left can't meme, because it's them.
Yeah,
they are mentally challenged and lacking in critical thinking. So they just slap some stuff into some talking bubbles, and that's hilarious.
Hey,
Look at this meme, Mom. It's so funny. They made such a great point.
What do you always hate the most in other individuals? What you resent in yourself. You always
saying that I
project.
lacked critical. I'm
No,
mentally
I
challenged
didn't
person,
come here
lacking
for
critically
that.
thinking, thriving
But
on.
what I am saying is that the same people that would say this back in the
Right.
When did JFK get assassinated? On live television in front of the entire nation?
62.
You know what they said? That Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't have shot from 3 different directions from one spot? And everyone, you're a conspiracy theorist. And now, how many years down the 50 plus years down the road, they still won't come out? They said, we're releasing all the JFK documents, and then they release them and it's all blacked out. So you didn't really release them.
Tower 7.
Explain Tower 7. Sorry. Turn the fucking frogs gay. Anyway, I didn't listen to Alex Jones enough. I wish I really would have. I'm a little retarded. Anyway, my point being is that it just seems like it's such a, I know you are one of my scenario, but isn't that just so succinct with everything that they're doing now? It's like, oh, well, who did you vote for last time? Oh, did you vote for Biden? Well, you're a good person. Did you vote for Trump? Oh, well, you're deplorable. You need to go on a list. Maybe you'll go on a train. But we'll blame everybody that doesn't agree with any of our standings for being a Nazi. Even though we do all the things that Nazis did back then, but because we called you it first, we can't be it. So, fuck you. That's my hoity-toity joke.
Harry and Meghan are pissed at South Park.
How about that?
How's that for a transition?
How about that? Who would have thought the best family known to man would have a problem with South Park calling them out on their shit?
That's right. So, Harry, what is his last name? Harry.
He used to be Duke of fucking someplace.
Is he just Harry?
Just Harry who gives a fuck now.
I think his
not even a beautiful face in
I think his name is now Harry. I think his name is now Harry Markel.
No.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with.
No, you're not.
That sounds about as right.
Well, I mean, it would make sense.
Right. Anyway, we're going with it. So Harry and Meghan Markle, they're suing South Park because South Park had a recent episode where they mocked the former royals because the episode, which has 2 characters which look in
Canadian
South Park, and South Park animated
Canadian.
Very much like
Canadians.
Harry and Meghan, which
it's a. I said that. Yeah, highlight.
We know, okay. But what I'm saying is,
we don't.
The purpose of the skit, what South Park was making fun of them for, is these characters on this episode went on a worldwide privacy tour, and which should be painfully obvious to you, why that's mocking them, because I mean that's them. Leave me alone. I'm poor. I'm oppressed.
All we want to do is be left alone, Oprah.
Buy my book.
All we want to not do is be more televised, people.
Listen to my new podcast that's like the highest rated on all of Spotify.
Netflix, please don't air this. Like, the coolest thing about that documentary, if I could take it a little side note.
I didn't even know there was one.
The coolest thing about that was there was a literal moment where Harry realizes that the fog is lifting from the pussy blindness, and he goes, oh shit, I might have fucked up. And it's when she like did this bow. She like did this bow in the documentary, and he just goes, he had this face, which is the face of a man that goes, I can't defend that. And I've been defending it forever. And now that I can't defend that, I'm starting to go down the list of things that I defended before that. And oh, I used to be a prince. What the fuck happened? Oh my God, what have I done? Like, all that realization was like rushing into his head. He's like, yeah, this is crazy. Meghan was so subjected. Poor Meghan. Like, I will say though, this bitch was the most toxic girlfriend that I've ever seen, and she pulled it off to like you could take
Epic
that
proportions.
strategy to like chess tournaments and blow everybody else out of the water. Like she did it better. My hat's off to game respects game. Like she did it better than anyone has ever done. Like name another person that convinced a dude to leave his family. Oh, by the way, that family was royal and all he had to ever do was just exist. And he got so accommodated. And all he had to do was make a couple of public appearances, wave a couple of times, and then off you go. But she convinced him that his whole family was racist, the family that he was a part of for however long. And then that the real problem was with them, not us. We need to go alone, babe. It's like, we need to let go of all of your things and go alone, you and I. It's like, oh, Harry. You would have had one fucking friend. You would have listened to one person ever. Anyway, I digress. Please, Dane, get into the nuts and the bolts and the fisticuffs of this lawsuit. I believe they're bringing against South Park. I'm sure no one's ever done that before, ever, right?
No, I mean, that's all I was going to say was just like, good luck. I mean, Trey Parker and Matt Stone have been sued. I can't even count how many times at this point. And hardly any of it. I don't know if a single case has been won against them. Maybe there's been settlements or something like that, but for de minimis amounts. But I guess the cultural corner, the cultural segment is all of this is kind of twofold. First, it's this constant look at me mentality, which is just like the other side of a coin or the cream to an Oreo of the mentality for I'm oppressed, right? These rich, famous people that want their private life and want to retreat from everything that got their fame and rich, that achieved for them their fame and their riches, just are so oppressed. They have life so hard. And then the second prong to this whole culture corner thing is, despite that mentality existing, we have a society that's so litigious and ready to sue over the most minute little things like, oh, I'm sorry, a cartoon didn't put you in the world's most flattering light ever. Because it's not like every other aspect of society isn't constantly fawning over you. And all of those aspects of society are calling people like Dane and us, or David and myself.
We're super sharp tonight.
We are. Listen, I am operating on 3 hours of sleep over the last 48 hours, so you'll forgive me.
We won't.
Is we'll call people like David and I, terrible pieces of shit or whatever for mocking people like Meghan and Harry.
Meanwhile, they'll get into their
Rolls Royce. They get fawned over by Oprah and every
drive home to their multi-million-dollar home.
Every other major platform. So, Harry and Meghan are just a microcosm of those cancerous type mentalities that exist in the broader society at large. And I wish it would fix itself. But until it does, we're just going to keep calling it out. And on a much, much smaller scale than Trey Parker and Matt Stone, we're going to do our own little version of speaking truth to power by mocking it. So good on them and help us get to their level. Thanks.
Right. And then a personal address to Matt Parker and Trey Stone. Thank you for the 25 years of entertainment plus, probably. I don't know when South Park started. I just know that I wasn't allowed to watch it when it started.
It has to be like early 90s.
Right. But anyway, like they haven't missed. Like Scientology, the religion that's not a religion, let's call it.
Wow, really? Only 1997? It's only 2 years younger than Family Guy, or 2 years older than Family Guy?
Bro, what were we in 1997?
Yeah, but I thought it was like early 90s. Wow.
We were in middle school.
We're 10.
Yeah, we were in middle school.
We were 9 because it was only August. You were was 10.
Shut the fuck up, Denzel Washington.
Shit. I was still ways away from being 10.
He's about 90 days away from being 10. Anyway, not important. What it really is important, Dane, is that Trey Parker and Matt Stone get the accolades for saying what I'd imagine 90% of us were already saying. Like, why do I give a fuck about their problems? Oh, because a royal family in a country that's not our own might have been mean to a toxic cunt that was trying to rip one of their family members away from them. And we have to feel bad for the toxic cunt. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot where my morality lied. And then the only reason they're mad is because it hit him on the nose. Because Matt and Trey don't miss. Like, they will exhaust every angle and they'll get it so succinct because they've been doing it for how many years, Dane?
You're asking the lawyer to do math? That's a risky proposition, buddy.
Let's just call it 20.
And
25?
23 plus 26.
Was I wrong with my initial assessment? Around 25 years. You've been doing it for 26 years. And they are getting better at it each year. Like,
Actually, you're right. It is 25. It'll be 26 this August.
Fuck.
Nailed it.
Anyway, hats off to you guys. South Park is a national monument. We should never go against these guys. When they say something, we should listen because they have their finger on the pulse of things.
Wow.
More
never
so.
Go against them.
I didn't say never. I just said listen to them.
Rewind it back.
Never.
This man said never.
Never question them. Well, the question.
He just said it again.
I did.
He said it twice.
I love South Park.
He doubled down.
Can I be?
I know, but there's nobody that should never be questioned.
Of course. But
Not even
you
us.
should take their perspective to your core and then try to dilute it from there because they're never off. And if they are off, they're off by like minuscule amounts because they have their own perspectives because they're human, whatever. But like, that's literally what they did. They went on a national public privacy tour. That's basically what they did. We just want to be left alone and live our lives. Like on Oprah.
Yeah, and plenty of others.
You might as well have invited entertainment into your house. We just want to be left alone, but like put a camera here, put a camera there, another camera there, but only if I have makeup on. Like we have to sign an agreement. Like you guys are so you're not interesting.
I love the before we move on, I don't know if this is the Wikipedia entry or if this is like HBO's little write-up on. No, maybe it's like IMDb. It just says the animated series is not for children. In fact, its goal seems to be to offend as many people as possible as it presents the adventures of Stan, Kyle, Kenny, and Cartman. So, yeah.
It's so beautiful because they don't offend anybody and most people agree with them.
The show has taken on Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, politicians of every stripe, and self-important
But
celebrities.
no, Megan, you'll overcome them because you're a dictator in a foreign sovereign country, right?
So,
good luck.
Anyway, that's the state of the culture, as sad as that may sound. Should we move on to the state of, the state?
Dare we?
Yeah. And how it always lets its own people get away, but never the ones who allegedly run it, which is supposed to be us, we the people. But
that's weird.
Interesting how that works. Tracking back to last episode where Adam Cuxinger wanted to tell, or no, it wasn't Cuxinger. It was Liz Cheney who wanted to lecture us about what the principles of American government are.
Oh, please. Dick Cheney's,
so this idea that a government of the people, by the people, for the people always seems to write rules that
always seems
come down on the people that run it and never the ones that are acting within it in,
one
improper
sort of
ways.
people, right?
Yeah, us. Anyway, so on today's Epstein segment, we have the SEC going after emojis.
Finally, actually, not against him. I'm not for it. I'm not an emoji guy. I just don't like him.
I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, Dane, come on. What kind of,
pseudo quasi?
what kind of crazy website are you getting this from? Well, to be fair, I do have an article linked below from Cointelegraph that said that it is titled "Emojis Count as Financial Advice and Have Legal Consequences, Judge Rules." And so you might say, that doesn't seem like a very reputable source. Well, I also have tweets from a former SEC branch chief. I forget her name. It's like Lisa Branciaga, something like that.
You're telling me.
And she tweeted, in addition to the link to the court documents, so if you want to look her up and find the court documents itself, her tweet says, quote, "A federal court judge ruled that these emojis, the rocket emoji, the stock chart where it's going up, and the bag of money, objectively mean, quote, one thing, a financial return on investment. Users of these emojis are hereby warned of the legal consequence of their use."
So what you're telling me right now, Dane, is I missed out on a sexual encounter because I don't like eggplants or peaches. That's what you're telling me right now.
Yep.
Or sprays of water.
Yep.
That's what you're telling me right now.
Yep.
Because emojis are words. And as we all know, words are consent. And when you say all those things in the right line, you're socially accountable for what you just emojied, which is an invention that we just had 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yep, something along those lines.
Interesting. So when's the Webster Dictionary going to start reflecting emojis? If I can put that.
What do you mean reflecting emojis?
Like give definitions to emojis.
Oh,
like this rocket could mean.
Seems like this is a good place to start, according to a U.S. federal court judge.
Will I get into it? This is where they should start. Hey guys, Webster.
In Branciaga or Branciaga's tweet, or however the hell you say her name, don't care. She used to be an SEC branch chief, so not that great of a person. Anyway, her tweet has a little excerpt from the court's ruling, and it says, quote, "Each tweet promotes a recent sale or statistics of recent sales of moments on the marketplace. And although the literal word, quote, profit is not included in any of the tweets, the rocket ship emoji, the stock chart emoji, and money bags emoji objectively mean one thing, a financial return on investment." And in case you're wondering, this is a lawsuit over the NBA's Top Shot NFT program, where basically it's like digital trading cards. So the NBA will have a picture of a key moment, a shot from a big player, whatever. They'll put it into an NFT and you can buy it. And the NBA Top Shot Twitter account talked about some of the NFTs that you could buy. And on the tweet, they put the rocket emojis, the stock chart where it's going up, and the money bags. And so the federal court says this is financial advice. And so if that financial advice runs afoul of the Securities and Exchange Commission laws, then you can be held liable for giving financial advice. And we just thought this was rather hilarious and an Epstein moment, because as we alluded to when we got this segment started, that this is just the latest example of the government of, by, and for the people coming down on the people, while the government itself excuses its own bad actors on a daily basis. You can now be held financially liable for putting rocket emojis out there, but Nancy Pelosi will insider trade for upwards of 2 to 3 decades and not a word is said. SEC is like, to use emojis, is like the blind man walking guy with a cane when it's Nancy Pelosi. But you and me and rocket emojis, off straight to jail.
How Jim Cramer had a whole syndicate of episodes, of series, of things telling you what you need to invest in and what you don't need to invest in. How was he circumvent from this particular political? He is the Louis C.K. of financial advisement, as Louis C.K. is to comedy. But what I'm saying is, he was giving literal financial advice.
Because he's licensed to do so.
Is he?
He can do it. Yeah. That's the point. If you have a license, if you have a government...
Where's that license come from?
If you have a government permission slip,
Fuck.
then you can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter how wrong you're... Somebody set up an ETF that's called the inverse Kramer, which basically everything Kramer says, like buy this or don't buy that, it does the exact opposite of whatever Kramer does, and it's like torching the market. It's a great ETF to invest in.
Oh.
So, that's how often
there's also an app that
monumentally wrong the guy is.
Tracks like the Senate representatives.
Right. From Unusual Whales on Twitter. Correct.
Right.
But
so if you're looking to make actual money, look into those two things. But anyway, go ahead, Dan.
Anyway, I know. I was just saying, like, that's, as if you needed another example about how this government that allegedly answers to you thinks of you versus it thinks of its favored class that staffs it, runs it, and or is in bed with it. Let this be the next example.
They don't see, well, if I may, Dane, take some. They don't see themselves as a part of you, and they don't consider you a part of themselves. That's where I'll leave it. Dane.
That's right.
The main topic.
On to the main. This week, we're talking about scary stuff.
Oh, and fuck. That wasn't scary enough. Meghan Markel isn't scary enough. She might get your kid. Watch out.
And scary stuff that, although David and I are happy to and will continue, come hell or high water, to be at least...
You're writing checks. I need to fucking see the finances behind them first.
To be at least one outlet that tells you the important things that are going on in the world.
I'll sign that check.
Despite our relatively small subscriber account... Jesus, I can't talk. Our relatively small subscriber count as of today.
In fairness, that's a really hard sentence to say.
Okay.
Relatively small subscriber account.
Subscriber count. Not account.
See, not account. See,
I
you want to throw an extra consonant in there to make it jive.
Well, I mean, an A is a vowel,
credit,
but
I'll protect him even though he throws me to the wolves all the time. As the man I am.
So yes, despite our small stature currently, but you're helping us grow by the day, and we thank you for that. We'll continue to talk about all the important shit that the mainstream media doesn't give a shit about. And today, what we're talking about is Russia leaving the last nuclear arms treaty that it had with the United States.
Oh, fuck.
I know. Yeah, that's just what we need. The two most heavily armed nuclear states to no longer be talking to each other and
it's a good thing we have
in treaties to keep their nukes under control.
Good thing we have two very cognitively advanced individuals to be able to hash out these problems.
Yeah. So what Russia has done as of the end of February 2023 is leave what's called the START Treaty. START stands for Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, and it's the last remaining nuclear arms control pact between Russia and the United States.
They said they weren't going to use nuclear arms?
Here's what the treaty does. It caps the number of strategic nuclear warheads that the U.S. and Russia can deploy, and it was signed by former President Obama and his Russian counterpart, Dmitry Medvedev, in 2010. Here's the 3 bullet points before I let David steal the floor again.
Steal? Fuck you.
Number 1.
Fuck you, really.
Number 1. It prevents the deploying of no more than 1,550 strategic nuclear warheads and a maximum of 700 long-range missiles and bombers.
Holy shit.
It limits...
Holy fuck.
It puts a limit of 800 intercontinental ballistic missiles in deployment. And each side can conduct up to 18 inspections of strategic nuclear weapon sites yearly to ensure the other has not breached the treaty's limits. So I'm going to let you, dear listener,
I feel super sick.
but considering the massive impact of just a handful of nuclear explosions, I would say that treaty didn't do much to really protect humanity.
Oh.
But what little it did, now it's doing even less because of the U.S.'s refusal to not intervene in the Russian sphere of influence and continue to threaten it by intervening in Ukraine. Russia has pulled out of that treaty, and now there are no more nuclear treaties between the United States and Russia. So get ready.
I haven't run the numbers, but I'm pretty sure those numbers that you just espoused would have killed us at least 3 times over, if not 3 times more. I don't know what that treaty really meant, and I don't know how hard somebody really fought for those numbers. No. You can only drop 1,089 bombs on us that are nuclear.
David, you weren't listening to any of the 3 points, were you?
No.
I told you exactly what the treaty was for.
No.
And dropping bombs on each other had nothing to do with it.
Well, they had to accrue it, right?
No. I'll say it again.
Go ahead.
It prevented the deploying of no more than 1,550 strategic nuclear warheads and a maximum of 700 long-range missiles and bombers.
What does deploy mean?
That doesn't mean drop. That means have them readily available. That means you can push the button and they can launch, or you can have the bombers ready to go up in the air and drop them, again, if war pops off. That doesn't mean you get to drop them on each other.
Same
Number 2.
difference, motherfucker. Okay, go ahead.
Number 2.
All right, semantic motherfucker. All right, Lord.
Number
Go
2.
ahead. Go ahead.
A limit of 800 intercontinental ballistic missiles in deployment. So again, can you push the button and launch? You can't do any more than 800. And then number 3, each side...
800 would annihilate this entire world multiple times over. Go ahead.
I'm agreeing with you that it does very little, but the point is that now it's doing
Go
nothing.
ahead. Let's go.
It's not allowing us to drop them on each other. That's the point I'm trying to make. And then number 3, each side can conduct up to 18 inspections of strategic nuclear weapon sites yearly to ensure the other has not breached the treaty's limits. So the U.S. gets to send up to 18 trips over to Russia and count their stockpiles, and Russia gets to inspect us 18 times a year, count our stockpile, and make sure that those numbers haven't been breached. So, anyway, that's...
May I continue?
It doesn't go anymore.
With the thing that we didn't disagree on?
Yeah, we did. You're talking about dropping bombs, bro. Ain't no bombs dropping.
You know what? You know, the difference is from it just sitting there to being dropped on humans is bling, bling, do it.
Well, imagine if they're limiting it to only 1,500. Imagine how many they actually have that they could have on the ready.
Here's the thing, dog. My whole problem is that you sign a contract saying, oh, we'll definitely only make this. And then they go in and like, make all of them. And then eventually when they say, but we had a treaty, it's like, yeah, you're a dumbass.
You did.
I slipped it through. Like, this is such arbitrary, banal bullshit. That's stereotypical, sterile government crap. Like, oh, we made a treaty with somebody and they were upholding it until they decided to leave it. Don't you know? It's like human nature is to deceive. Like, Listen, if I went out on a trip being married to Las Vegas, and all of a sudden I came home and my betrothed wanted to engage in coital engagements, let's call it, just by like the better term. And I said, no, let's wait a couple of days. Like I just don't feel good. And then all of a sudden you realize that he went to the doctor, he got a penicillin shot, cleared whatever he was, and then 2 days after the penicillin shot, he's ready to give you all marital coital engagements. You would have suspicions, wouldn't you? Or would you just go, well, he signed a contract. He said till death do us part. Said, I'm taking you to the end. I'm not going to question anything. Or would you have your reservations? And that's where I'm sitting, Dane. I have my reservations. I don't think this is really even anything. Again, if this is coming out to adhere to our own rule, they're only telling us this to make us afraid of it. If this was truly happening and it was truly going to light off, in fact, you know what, dear listener? Because you know this, take solace. Nothing's going to happen because, God damn it, if the government tells you that it's going to, it never will. So bless their hearts, despite their best efforts to create nuclear holocaust, they're inept even in that. So thank Christ we had the most inept fucking thing trying to commit genocide on a global scale to benefit themselves. Thank Christ they were too stupid to pull it off with this equipment.
All right, so here's your answer for a article that's not dated, unfortunately. So I don't know how up to date this is, but it's from the Union of Concerned Scientists. And they count the stockpiles and they say that the United States arsenal contains 5,400 nuclear weapons, 1,744 of which are deployed and ready to be delivered. Russia has a little bit bigger stockpile at roughly 6,000, but it has less deployed than the United States, which comes in right at 1,584. So when you consider that the START treaty limits the amount that can be deployed to 1,550, and the United States has 1,700 and Russia has roughly 1,500, the treaty wasn't really limiting much.
Who really broke that treaty?
So, it's not about breaking it. It's just Putin said, like, listen, I'm withdrawing from the treaty. I'm going to no longer abide by the terms because the United States is, targeting, Russian air bases and helping Ukraine and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, key takeaway is, right, that what limited shackles, so to speak, that this last remaining treaty between the United States and Russia, the two most heavily nuclear armed states on the planet, what little shackles that were put on them by the START treaty are now off.
And if we
these psychopaths, which think that they need stockpiles this big, now are just that much closer to using them on each other and by proxy us. So,
and if we can offer any amount, a modicum of like relief for you, it's that the people that want to destroy this world are the most inept people that can't even run their own fiscal finances by themselves. So again, it worked out in our favor for now. But as a human race, we need to strive for better representation. We'll figure it out. We're still on our learning curve. We've only known this for about 200 years. We're getting the hang of it. We'll get it figured out. And by God, in the next 2 millennia, we're going to be fucking, we're going to be, nuking other planets because they look different than us, which is the American/Earth way to do it. But anyway, Dan, with all that being said, with all this cheery non-annihilation, non-apocalyptic viewpoint, where can they find this podcast at?
They can find episode 137 at wmdpodcast.com/137. They can get the audio only on any podcast catcher. Just search Weapons of Meme Destruction. They can get the video on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. They can link up with us on our non-podcast socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Float, Facebook page, members only, and Tribel. And join that email list over at WWIII.podcast.com. That's how you can always stay in contact with us and get updates about when we appear on other shows, when we eventually have people coming to our show, when we do any live events in the future, et cetera, et cetera. That is your main hub, the website and the email list. With that being said, we'll see you next week for episode 138.
By the way, Tribel.
Like that?
He did it, and I know you shook your head, but I was like, he did it because he loves me. He did it because he loves me, and he can't deny it anymore. It's on tape. You guys all saw it. You all saw it. I have all you mother. Ow. Funny bone.
See? He was talking shit, and Karma immediately smacked him.
But no, Karma let me know I was right. Give me the humorous that he does actually care, god damn it. But anyway, as much as he cares about me by saying Tribel, we care about you staying safe. And more importantly, guys, stay free.